Hi, guys. Welcome to the inaugural podcast. This is the Eco Round featuring myself, Top Soul Man, moderator of the CSGO betting subreddit, and
I'm Popo434 from the betting group Better Betters.
we're here today. We're going to be discussing the Cluj Major that's going to be taking place within the next day or so. We're going to go over some general betting topics on the major itself, and we're going to kind of give you some advice, hopefully, to make you profitable for day one. The first thing that we wanted to start with is just general stuff for Lounge if you're using that as your platform to bet. The first thing is to get your bets in early. Obviously, the expectation should be that Lounge will go down, the bots will go down, and throughout every major we've ever seen is there are constantly people who can't get their bets in. So if you have things in returns, you could bet from there pretty consistently. But if you don't, make sure you try to make your bets early.
Yep, definitely. The only thing worse than losing a bet is missing out on a win because of your own mistake.
Not betting at all and then
Yeah.
having that better's remorse is just terrible. And there's so many threads created daily that we have to remove. So just get your bets in early. Generally, that's what we're trying to say. Also, keep in mind there's been a Lounge price update, so your skins may have devalued a little bit, which is actually good, I think,
Yeah.
because it actually reflects more of the realistic skin price. Like you wouldn't get some $50 skin that's now worth $22 when
Yeah.
you win.
You're
So it works both
You're
ways.
definitely going to be getting all the value you deserve when you get one of these wins. It's really going to be a great major.
Yeah, I'm definitely anticipating a lot of good games. And so with that, I think I know we wanted to start our topics with the difference between a major and kind of like a regular day of betting, and even from other LAN events. This is a huge event,
Yeah, for
one
sure.
of four majors during a year, and the betting seems to be a little bit different. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your strategy going in for the actual difference between a major and a regular day?
Well, with a major, you're definitely getting really well-known teams. Like we all know their strategies. We're all going to know how they're playing, and they're definitely going to be trying their very hardest. Even teams like Vex, teams like Flipside, who don't really have the best chance of winning the major, they're going to be fighting their hardest to get in that top 8 for the next major, just for the sticker money and to auto-qualify. So you're definitely going to be seeing like high-level Counter-Strike, and it's definitely going to be a lot more consistent
So
with what people would expect.
so for clarity, the top 8 teams from this major automatically qualify for the next major, correct?
Exactly.
And that's going to put a lot of emphasis if you're playing in the second, like the best of threes after the group stages. You're going to see a lot of high level Counter Strike, and these teams are going to be playing to their best. Also, keep in mind that a lot of teams have been preparing, and there's this general idea that teams save strats, air quotes, for the major. How much do you think that'll affect the games themselves, the strategy saving?
I don't think strategy saving is as big of it as much as like as big a part as counter stratting and knowing how your enemy's going to play. So I think the prep work of it is a lot bigger than like the saving of strategies. I think just, putting in the work and not putting in your effort for, the online matches before this tournament, I think you're going to have a lot of teams that are winning on counter strats.
I think that's a really good point because it kind of emphasizes how this game has been out for a long time, and these top level teams are all very well versed in strategies. Now it's getting to that like super meta game of counter stratting your opponent. And who do you think that favors in this tournament specifically? Just off the top of my head, I think Fnatic is a great counter stratting team. I think Titan with Existence
Yeah,
Calling can be a really, really, really
Titan's going to be
heavy.
my pick.
So like that's the type of team that even though they might not be favored to go like super far, well, Fnatic obviously is one of the favorites, but Titan, I think they could surprise just because they have a very good head signal caller. And
Ano-
even go
Another
ahead.
team that I would go with would be Mouse Sports. I don't think they're going to make it to the finals, but Gabi, he's going to be counter stratting. They're trying to get into that top 8 for sure.
And I think with the Maus is like they always have this like super immense talent, but they've yet to really have a lot of synergy and put it together to really perform at a major. So in terms of their like, hopefully this will be the time when they put it together because Nico, Nex, Chris J are all fantastic players. Dennis knows his role, and Gob is a good strat caller. So I think that could favor them. Potentially, we'll see what the odds say. But I know that we wanted to talk about a little bit getting further in the major and getting that sticker money and that prize money, and knowing that for betting in general that the odds are going to be more realistic. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you're definitely going to get more realistic odds because it's just a lot easier to call when all the teams are trying their very hardest and they're putting, they're all into it. One thing that you are going to see is an influx of bettors who just, bet during majors. They bet, their fanboy, and they're rooting with their skins basically.
And they're rooting for their country of origin too.
Yeah.
So you might have a lot of Cloud9. I know they get a lot of hate on forums, but the C9 and North American bettors, you might see C9 with some inflated odds, and that's especially important to take advantage of from a betting perspective. If you see that, because a game like Cloud9 versus LG right now, I think the odds are realistic, but maybe last minute you might get a bunch of those. North American bettors, and if they go up to, like, I don't know, say 70% against LG in a best of one, I think that's very important to take advantage of that.
Definitely.
In terms of the groups themselves, obviously the group stages are best of ones. I think that that's going to favor underdogs, as it always does in majors. We saw, the famous one is MLG Aspen, where it was like upsets left and right. But do you see a lot of underdogs coming out in the best of one group stages?
I don't see that many upsets happening, but you're definitely gonna get one. I don't see it being a clean sweep. I think some of these upsets have a lot of potential, and I know I'm excited to bet on them.
I feel like the best of ones in this tournament there won't be as many upsets as there have been in the past, just because the teams are more experienced. They know each other very well. Another thing to consider is that every single team in this tournament has competed in a major except for Liquid. And Liquid is an experienced LAN team. Obviously, Hiko has played in majors. But, like, if you think that there's 1, 2, 3, 8, 16 teams in this major, and 15 of them have been in a major before, that's going to be, I think, more indicative to what you were talking about earlier, which is the odds being correct, and the best of one upsets aren't going to be as prevalent. But I do agree. I think there's going to be actually 2 upsets on day one, and I feel like that's something that you could take advantage of if you bet smartly.
Yeah. That kind of leads me into the topic of just chain logic in general and how you can use it to your advantage, because day one is the best of one group stage, and being able to see like teams like Luminosity and Mouse Sports and Titan, if they get off to an early start, if they get off really strong, they could snowball that into top 8, top 4. They could perform really above their means.
Well, if Luminosity wins against Cloud9, let's just put an example of this. If Luminosity wins against Cloud9, then they're going to be facing off against Fnatic in a best of one. We all remember what happened to Fnatic versus CLG at that last North American LAN. Huge upset there. If you were to ask, exactly, you won like, how much money? Like $7,000 or something crazy on that game?
I think it was $9K.
Jesus Christ. So LG, you watch them play against Cloud9. Let's say they win, Fnatic beats Vex. Then that sets up a group stage the next day for Luminosity versus Fnatic. I think Fnatic would get at least 80% odds in that best of one, and that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you look at what Popo was saying just a second ago about how they snowball the momentum from one game to the next, I think you could very well see an upset in that game, especially if Luminosity somehow get Mirage or a map that they're very talented at, or Dust maybe. You never know. It's that's the other thing that we have been kind of like mulling over in our conversation topic, is how you shouldn't be betting on every single game, right? When you see the odds that are kind of more realistic and you think that they're right, you might want to skip that game. Try to find the games that have the good odds and use that momentum play from the day before to set up for the next day, and that'll, I think, be more profitable in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. Spreading your bets out is always a good idea. Just because it's a major doesn't mean you have to throw everything down in one day. You shouldn't be betting too much just because it's a big event. Always bet smart. Always use proper bet sizing, even in the later stage. Even if you get a finale of Fnatic versus TSM and it's going to be epic, bet a little bit for fun, but don't throw down huge amounts just because it's, the finals.
Yeah, and it makes it more interesting and fun, but you don't want to go broke
Yeah.
because everybody knows going broke is absolutely no fun. So make sure that you bet smart, try to skip games in between, and I think with the general overview and the tips that we've laid out, I think you could have a profitable major. You obviously have to come to your conclusion of your odds, and we're not going to get into specific game odds here, but as the major goes on, we might be coming back with some more content, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I think at that point, was there anything else that you really wanted to go over, or
Not really. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Leave a comments. Comments. Leave a comment.
commence subscribing,
Yeah, commence subscribing. Yeah, there you go.
and leave a comment about a comment.
Yeah, letting us know that I'm retarded. Um, we're going to be ending all of our future videos with a case opening, which we're going to raffle off before we even open the case. So if you guys want to win the contents of a case unknown, could be a knife, probably
It's gonna
not.
be a knife.
Yeah, it's never going to be a knife.
No, it's gonna be a knife.
You can
Guaranteed.
check the description for details.
If it is a knife, it's gonna be what's that? The shadow dagger, and it's gonna be like a battle scarred safari mesh.
Nice.
And you guys are gonna love that knife. Trust me, I have like 7 of them, and I alternate every single time I play a game. But yeah, as Popo said, go ahead, enter that raffle, leave us a comment, subscribe. Leave us constructive feedback because we want to improve. This is our inaugural podcast, and I think it's important for us if you guys want to continue to see more content. What you'd like to see from us, feedback from the fans and people who are listening is very important. We plan on continuing this podcast on hopefully a weekly basis, maybe integrating some more guests into the show and trying to get ourselves on point. But mostly, it's a thank you to you guys who are listening. Obviously, the people from Better Betters. This is a huge betting group that Popo has been running and doing a great job with for many, many, many months. And then the largest free betting group in the world, which is the one that I moderate, CSGO Betting, on Reddit. I really want to thank you guys for being a very strong part of the community. And overall, I think we look forward to hearing from you guys and getting more content out the door.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.